I don't have a husband. Okay, haha, very funny that I'm posting this in a subreddit full of ghosts and other spooky wacko things. I guess above all else, getting no play is what keeps folks up at night. But jokes aside, this isn't a troll, this isn't mindless complaining, and it sure as hell isn't funny. I don't have a husband, and I don't want to have one. I think it'd be helpful to note that I'm not a fan of romance. I mean, I can see why people like it. I'm not exempt from the majority that swoons at rom-coms, and I've had my fair share of "aw, he's cute" moments. But when it comes to actually thinking about sharing my life with someone else, ugh. It's like thinking about a parasite. Who has the time to be sending good morning texts every day? And don't get me started on my ever-growing list of pet peeves and icks. Maybe I'm just picky, or maybe I've just never been in love, but I'm fine with growing up and only ever having friends, maybe a few exotic pets. Romance, as I see it, is boring and inconvenient. You can imagine my shock when I noticed a second toothbrush in my toothbrush holder last month. I had spent the better part of the morning milling about. The night prior I had noticed that my clothes bin was overflowing, and by morning I was ironing and sorting what had been dried last night, just to get it out of the way. Between that and getting distracted with some other mess, I had neglected brushing my teeth, right up until I sighed and smelled death. When I had rushed to the bathroom, I wildly grasped for my toothbrush, already turning on the tap so I could speed things up. Laundry was already tedious enough, and I didn't want to push it back any further. If I took too long here, then I'd forget all about my clothes. I only gave pause when I noticed how weird the bristles felt. They felt out of place and sharp, almost as if the person using them had been scrubbing the enamel off of their teeth. Which, no, that couldn't be right. I had just bought that brush. Even if I was in the habit of punishing my teeth every morning, there's no way it could have gotten like that already. I looked back to my toothbrush holder, finding that my regular brush was where I'd left it last night. The one I was holding was used, thin, and not mine. I got my carbon monoxide checked the same day. Call it paranoia, health anxiety, or whatever, but there's no way in hell I'd brush something like that off easily, pun intended. I have seen fed too many movies and have screamed at way too many dumb characters on TV to repeat their silly mistakes. It turned out, however, that things were fine with my carbon monoxide, and there weren't any other leaks in my apartment, either. When the two maintenance guys who had come out to check were leaving, one nodded towards my shoe rack. If you're still experiencing the same symptoms, you and your husband ought to take a visit to the hospital. He shook his head. Pal of mine thought it was his monoxide too, turns out he had something up with his brain. Pal of mine my butt, I've seen that Reddit post before. Regardless of the blatant plagiarism, I plastered on a polite smile and sent the two men on their way. It had only registered that he had said husband when I nearly busted my nose tripping over a pair of dirt-caked work boots. I frowned, first at the implication that those boots couldn't have been mine, then at the realization that those boots actually weren't mine. There were odd little things like that all throughout my house. Like, for example, when I had finally gotten around to putting away my clothes, I noticed old shirts a few sizes too big, company logos that I've never bought from wide across the front. Across the span of a few weeks, I received voicemails from people I've never heard of, all seeming to congratulate someone for something. There's this cafe I frequent, one just around the corner from where I work. On occasion, on slower days, I'd find myself smiling about how cute the barista is. Not exactly a crush, far from it actually, but there are days where you need to seriously romanticize life or you'll die from how boring things are. That's all my coffee shop visits had really been, just grabbing an Americano and sighing about the dreamy dude at the counter I knew nothing about. He was gone. I guess it could have just been a sudden quitting. There one day and gone the next sort of a thing. But it was weird how his coworkers acted like he hadn't been there in the first place. When I had gathered the courage to ask, at the risk of looking like a total creep, the girl behind the counter gave me a confused smile. A guy? She tilts her head, black hair slipping from where it had been tucked behind her ear. I nod. He's usually here around this time. You know, brown hair? Glasses? She still looks confused, and I continue, getting desperate. He's tall, too. Cute in the face? So much for not sounding like a creep. Fortunately, the girl gives a small laugh. PFFT, I wish we had someone like that working here. Another one of the baristas, walking past, gives a small hey-oh. When she says that, and the girl smiles again. Sorry. Maybe you've got the wrong place? Yeah, probably. Sorry. I mumble, taking the drink I had ordered from the end of the counter and pushing open the door. Home had begun to smell different. I imagine it's like when a baby deer come back to its mom smelling human. I couldn't recognize my place as my own anymore. It was when I found boxers laying around that I officially, totally lost it. Within the hour, I had left the house, opting to instead go to the library and turn to good old Dr. Google with my symptoms. Aside from the carbon monoxide, there were a few old posts where it turned out a person had DID, or were experiencing these funky lapses in neural transmissions. All the medical jargon was making my head spin, and hopelessly, I logged off of the computer I had been using, settling down in the driver's seat of my car and adjusting it closer to the wheel. So long as I was away from home, I could lie to myself. I could tell myself that I've just been stressed lately. I could tell myself that what I was experiencing was simply the result of burnout. Just as long as I wasn't home. I wound up walking mindlessly about the grocery store, picking at produce and convincing myself that I wasn't scared to go home. Why would I be? There shouldn't be anything I wasn't expecting. I knew there wasn't. As my hand curled around a yellowish green mango, something felt foreign and odd on my ring finger, flush against the skin of the mango and the skin of my hand. I didn't look to see what it was. I'm beginning to get the impression that it's supposed to be there. Imogen. You who? The shrill voice of my neighbor, Mrs. Carriter, rang from across the produce section, and she waved me over. Mrs. Carriter had a passion for community like no other. Remarkable, really. If you pointed to any one person in the grocery store and asked her about them, 9 out of 10 times she'd be able to give you their name, and at least one fun fact. Right now, we were exchanging pleasantries. She was ranting about the antics the kids in the apartment building were getting up to. You know, she begins, fully turning away from her grocery cart. If I weren't just visiting my daughter, I'd have half a mind to complain to the landlord about the noise. It's outrageous. I just smile and nod, not really paying the conversation any mind until she leaned in close, eyes brimming with mischief. Although, I wouldn't mind seeing any new babes from you too. She leans back, tittering to herself. Really, you'd ought to see my real grandson. A real-life cherub, I tell you. Oh, I've got a picture too. Her voice fades into the rest of the grocery store ambience, and I take account of what's in my cart in an attempt to calm myself. There's trail mix. I hate trail mix. Why would I buy trail mix? On my drive home, the whole way through, I hardly feel anything outside of a growing dread. When I get into the apartment building, I can hear kids running around in the halls from all the way down here. I take the elevator. When I fling my door open, I hang my keys next to another set. I set the groceries down on my counter. I place the trail mix somewhere I know he'd find it. I look towards my shut bedroom door, and I can hear breathing. I don't know what to do. I'm still in my kitchen. I don't know what the hell is in my bedroom. I don't have a husband. I don't want to have a husband. So why do I have one? Have I always had one? I don't want to go to sleep.